The call for self-denial teaches the pursuit of satisfaction in God. Luke 9:23. Then he said to them all, "Whoever wants to be my disciple must deny themselves and take up their cross daily and follow me." One of the most generally relatable and clear examples of denying yourself right now is how people sacrifice a portion of their life for their goals. They'd exert so much effort and an immense amount of hard work in hopes of one day achieving something. There's nothing wrong with working hard to achieve your dreams, but sometimes we spend too much time trying to get up to that goal that we have no time for the Lord, and all that wasted time was all meant for self-fulfillment. There was once a young man named Brandon who had just opened up a new business. In just a few months, it was already quite successful. One morning, he received an email from another businessman by the name of Mr. Smith. He had proposed a partnership and upgrades for his company. Brandon immediately agreed out of excitement. They'd been talking for a few weeks and were already on the verge of an agreement. As Brandon was leaving his office one morning, he meets an old friend, Tyler. Back when he was a college student, Tyler had been inviting him to church, but Brandon was always too busy. Since he's already out of college, Tyler invited him once more. Brandon knew he hadn't been to church in a long time, and this was a great opportunity for him to get closer to God. He happily agreed and left. On Thursday evening, Brandon receives a call from Mr. Smith. He was going on a 2-month vacation the next day, and he wanted to be official business partners before he left. The only available time they had was Friday morning. They couldn't postpone the signing because Mr. Smith leaves in the afternoon. Brandon had already made a commitment that he would go to church that Friday, and he had no plans of changing that. Although he knew it would mean turning down a huge boost for his career, he politely declined. That Friday was one of the most memorable moments of his life. From the welcoming spirit of all the brethren to the blessed message from God, up until the very end, all his attention and thoughts were focused on God. He had forgotten about Mr. Smith and the stake of a career he had to reject. But even if he did, it wouldn't matter as much since he knew God would be pleased by his choice. The next day, he was watching TV when the news came on. A wealthy businessman was getting sued for fraud. The man would cheat small business owners by giving them huge offers and soon leaving them bankrupt while taking all the profit for himself. Well, it turns out, it was Mr. Smith getting sued. Brandon was both shocked and relieved. If he hadn't declined, he would have put his future in the hands of a criminal. Not only was he able to dodge a guaranteed downfall, but he was able to get his faith back on track. All because of one decision. He chose what his heart needed over what his humanly desires wanted. He gave up a great opportunity and chose to get closer to God. And in the end, it was all for the better. Jesus came to earth and embraced the plight of fallen humanity. He accomplished his mission against fearful odds and dire resistance. Finally, he offered his own life to save us sinners. 1 John 3:16. This is how we know what love is. Jesus Christ laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers and sisters. Dietrich Bonhoeffer paraphrased in his book, The Cost of Discipleship. When Christ calls a man, he bids him come and die. People now would find it a rather absurd and unusual thing to say. But what God means by denying yourself is to fully offer your life and soul to Him. It's to lose the part of your life that's very attached to the world, Lose the mindset where your social or financial status defines your contentment. As God's followers, a sacrificial spirit is part of our true identity and character. We live in a generation when money, time, food, and other resources are hard to find, and there are many ways people can find entertainment. The absence of self-denial in his professed followers, God regards as a denial of the Christian name. Those who profess to be one with Christ and indulge in their selfish desires for rich and expensive clothing, furniture, and food are Christian only in name. It's not how heavy your Bible is, how much you give in your tithes, or how close you sit to the front row in church. Jesus wants us to follow him, not to simply show our full attendance, but to truly be his disciple. As we return our tithe and regular and systematic offerings, which we call promise, let us show a spirit of self-denial. May we put our desires last and God first.